iRacing recently made some changes to the strength of the AI drivers on its single player mode, and in addition, have launched the ability to launch an AI session straight from an official race. We're going to show you through that, show you through how to set up one of these races, and also hang around to the end where we do give you the recommendations for AI strength based on your iRating and track knowledge. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so this is nice and easy. It's not available on everything yet, but I think where I'm going to focus is the GT3 racing. So very, very popular category, and of course, a variety of weather circumstances available in this one. So what you need to do to access it, first and foremost, is select your car. And then if you head down to the right-hand side of the Go Racing button, you've got that little arrow where, you might initially test drive or ghost a session or register. It's as simple as create a single AI session, and it will open it up. Now, it gives you the options across the top of the screen to set this up similar to how you would if you were creating a hosted session. So you can turn practice off, you can turn qualifying off, you can turn race off, or any variation thereafter. So easy enough to do. And you can also change the length of time or the race into a lap, certain race length. So we're going to do that here. Change it to 5 laps and continue. Now you do get the options to click the wrong button there. You do get the options to continue to go through, and you can reselect the car that you want to drive. So if you've decided you don't want to drive the McLaren, you want to test something else, which is good again if you're looking to get a gauge on what car is going to be strong at what track. Obviously, you can change the circuit as well. Make any variations like you would if you were setting up a official hosted session, I should say. Weather settings, time of day settings. Of course, you want to leave these as they are if you're trying to practice for a particular week's race. Modify this. The other one I point out here is disable car damage. If you are practicing and you're learning a new track, I'd always turn that on. It doesn't matter about the realism in practice in terms of that sort of thing. You don't have to keep resetting the car and warming tires up and things like that. So I would generally turn that one on. Turn the marbles on, generate the track state so that you've got that sorted. And then you do get here with the cars you can pick. So, if there's certain cars that you want to bop, you can change the fuel capacity, etc. on the details of these vehicles. So in terms of the AI opponent settings, you can see here, generally when you open it up, you've got a skill spread of 25 to 50%. You definitely want to narrow this, and you don't want to start down here anyway, unless your iRating is really low and you're new to the server, or you're trying to learn or tune a particular piece of equipment perhaps, or you're learning an absolutely brand new track. Then really this 40 to 50 amateur split is something that you really won't be considering at all. So just to give you the spans, you've got a category called, I think it's hot foot or warm foot or hot shoes. So hot shoes runs to about 70% from memory. Yeah, so you got hot shoes, which runs from 51% to 70%. And look, again, that's a really low threshold. So if you're just learning, or you're just starting out, or new car or wet track, or those sorts of complicating factors, then this is probably where you're going to be. But for anyone who's sort of upwards of that 1,000, 1,200, maybe 1,400 iRating, then you're going to want to sit in this 70 to 90% zone. So this pro zone is where you'll do a majority of it. And I would encourage you to try and find your sweet spot with a 10% skill spread, so you don't end up with drivers that are miles slower than the rest of the pack if you genuinely want to practice your racecraft and your braking and your turning. If you're anywhere sort of upwards of 1,500 iRating to 2K iRating,
then you're playing in this sort of 89 to 99% zone. Now, I know it says aliens, 89 to 100% is aliens, and then at 101 and above, you go to cheaters. But what you get at the spread of sort of 89 to 99 is the closest thing on a track where you are familiar. So again, in my particular situation, I tested this at Mount Panorama in the new McLaren, and you get a situation where you're still quick enough to be in the top 5, but you're not flogging everyone by a lap time. So you might be able to be maybe half a second quicker a lap than a majority of the field, if not the whole field. But it's a good place to start so that you get competitive racing, particularly if you don't qualify and you start towards the back of the grid. Then it gives you the opportunity to work your way through the field without them driving away on you and still be competitive enough where they'll race one another and race you as well. As I said, the narrower you can get the gap between the skill spread, in my opinion, is the better the outcome for you from a racing perspective. And I found my sweet spot to actually be 97% to 104% at tracks that I'm extremely familiar with, where I'm wanting to practice racing and hard passing, or I might be testing a setup in a track that I'm not as used to. So, for example, Silverstone in the wet, I had to bring this back to sort of 91 to 95. I found I was able to keep up with the field, but not absolutely tromp the whole field when I was racing in the wet, where I still need to continue to develop my skills at tracks that I don't race at all that often. So hopefully that gives you a gauge of where you need to set this up to get the most advantage out of it. But it is a really, really strong tool for you to use to improve your overall racecraft, to test setups, to practice at new tracks, to find passing points on tracks, how to set up passes on tracks. It really is a strong tool for you to use. So hopefully you've found something here that you might not have known, or you've found an easy way to a sweet spot for setting them up. And give it a go and have a crack against the AI. You will definitely get value out of it. Speaking of getting good value out of it, if you are interested in keeping up with everything sim racing related, then we'd love it if you'd subscribe to our channel. We do everything here from iRacing across to Race Room, which we're getting through some content on, and ACC as well, which we're getting through some other content on. And really want to try and bring as much value as possible and learning and share knowledge across the sim racing community as we can. So if you have enjoyed the video, we would love it if you could subscribe. Other than that, as always, until next time, happy racing, and let us know how you get on with your AI races, and we look forward to seeing you on track.